Drinking has become so ingrained in our culture that most people just assume they know everything they need to know about alcohol. But it turns out that most of what you think you know is completely wrong. Here's a look at some false facts about alcohol that everyone thought were true, but are actually a lot of bull. Tequila comes with worms. To many, it's not tequila until you stick a big old worm in the bottle. No one knows why, both because it makes no sense at all and because, well, it doesn't happen.
Well, so long as we've got some time to kill, I think I'll have a beer.
We don't have no beer, just tequila.
What's tequila?
Yeah, it's like beer.
First, those worms aren't worms. They're actually moth or butterfly larvae, which, for the record, is still pretty gross. Secondly, these non-worm worms can actually be found in mezcal, not tequila. The two are similar, but with one key difference. In order for an alcoholic beverage to qualify as tequila, it has to be at least 51% blue agave. Mezcal, on the other hand, can be made with other strains of agave. And the worm? Just a really bad marketing gimmick for mezcal that clearly didn't work, since people still think it's tequila. Maybe if they had gone with bulls instead of worms.
Make another bull appear. Hey, you're pretty good.
Mixing different types of alcohol is bad. You know the rhyme, liquor before beer, never fear, but beer before liquor, never sicker. Here's another one. The rhyme is a lie, a stupid rule to go by.
Thanks. I needed that.
That's because science says there is no combination of beer, liquor, and wine that's going to make your hangover worse than usual. There are two major components to causing a hangover: how much you drink and how fast you drink it. Since liquor is both consumed quicker and has a higher concentration of alcohol than beer, you're likely to get sicker and drunk quicker with liquor, regardless of whether you chase it with beer or do it the other way around. If you really want to avoid getting sick, here's a better rule. Consume whatever you want, but in moderation. Alcohol only impairs brain function. Everyone knows that alcohol can slow reaction time and impair thinking, but it turns out that moderation is again the key, because studies have shown that small amounts of alcohol can actually improve your brain function in some ways. It's true. In 2012, researchers discovered that subjects who were given some alcohol and food outperformed sober people when faced with a series of word problems designed to test creativity. And the Health, Alcohol, and Psychosocial Factors in Eastern Europe study found drinking a moderate amount of alcohol every day may improve overall brain function, especially in women. People who drank moderately scored higher on tests that measured everything from verbal skills to memory, and the lowest scores came from those who abstained from alcohol completely. Take that, Temperance League. Bottled beer is better than canned. Next time someone turns their nose up at your can of brew because bottles are better, you can drop this bit of knowledge on them. They actually have it completely backwards. Sure, sipping on a skunky beer will ruin your night really quickly, but the biggest contributors to skunked beer are light, heat, and oxygen. Since cans completely block all light and are perfectly sealed away against air, there are no issues with light or oxidation, problems that can plague even the best bottled beer. Plus, cans are lighter, making them both more convenient and more environmentally friendly. So not only will the beer taste better, it will actually be better for the earth itself. Take that, beer snob.
Colt 45 malt liquor.
Absinthe was so dangerous it was illegal. The romance and reputation of absinthe is undeniable. You've probably heard that it causes hallucinations, and it was so dangerous it was banned. Well, no, and not really. It's true that in the early 20th century, temperance crusaders in both America and Europe demonized absinthe as the devil's own concoction, with most of the blame aimed at a chemical in absinthe called thujone. As a result, the United States passed laws saying that absinthe had to be more or less free of thujone in order to be sold in America. However, it turns out that there was some fine print in that law saying that American absinthe could actually contain up to 10 parts per million of thujone. It doesn't sound like much, but modern analysis of 19th century absinthe shows that the amount of thujone in classic strains of the drink varied wildly, from a high of 48 parts per million all the way down to 0. So it turns out plenty of real, authentic absinthe was actually legal all along. And that ban turns out to have been totally pointless anyway, because those tests on old-timey absinthe revealed that there's actually nothing in the drink that causes hallucinations in the first place, not even thujone. The new theory on why absinthe caused so many people to have problems back in the day, because they were just drinking way too much of it. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Different liquors cause different behaviors. You know the person that swears off a certain kind of liquor because they say it makes them mean, sad, or more hungover in the morning? Science says that person is full of it. Yes, scientists have actually studied this because scientists like to drink too. One test involved injecting rats with different kinds of liquor, which sounds both mean and hilarious. Another used human volunteers and monitored how vodka and bourbon impacted their moods. The result? No observable difference. So why does it seem like there is? There are a couple of theories, the main one being that different types of liquor can have different concentrations of alcohol, so you may get drunker and sicker faster drinking one type over another. Science! Alcohol makes you warmer. We love animals and we love alcohol, so of course we love animals that bring us alcohol. We totally get stranded in a snowstorm just so we could be found by a big St. Bernard with a little barrel around its neck. Or maybe a bull. Unfortunately, alcohol only makes you feel warmer, while in reality it's actually making you colder. When you drink, the alcohol opens up the blood vessels at the surface of your skin, which is why you turn red and feel warmer. But that increased blood flow is pushed out from your body's core, meaning your core temperature actually drops. Alcohol also inhibits other warming behaviors like shivering, so that brandy-bearing Bernard isn't doing you any favors, no matter how good his intentions might be. Drinking will cure your hangover. Drinking alcohol on the morning after a bender to help kick a hangover isn't just questionable, it's downright dumb. It's because of how hangovers work. Symptoms appear when blood alcohol content reaches zero, so drinking more is just going to postpone the inevitable. Hangovers also include things like an outraged immune system that's rushing to do damage control. Add in alcohol's diuretic effects and irritating effects on your stomach, and drinking more is likely to just make things even worse. So maybe don't do that. Alcohol will help you sleep. This is one so widespread that there's a name for it, a nightcap. Popular belief says a drink will help you sleep, but while it's likely to help you fall asleep faster, the problems will start about midway through the night. Not only will you get less REM sleep than normal, your nightmares will be worse, and if you're prone to sleepwalking, you're more likely to do that too. Just how weird can your dreams get? How about singing a song at a bar with Shaft and his friends before being attacked by a rampaging animal type weird?
No one does it like the bull.
Wine is the only alcohol with health benefits. Every so often, news about the benefits of a nightly glass of wine makes the rounds on social media, and everyone shares it like they've never heard it before. Turns out these benefits aren't just limited to wine, though. Beer works as well. In 2016, Pennsylvania State University released their findings based on a survey of 80,000 adults and found that a daily pint or two helped improve cholesterol and also reduce the risk of heart disease and stroke. Beer has also been linked to a decreased risk of kidney stones, clogged arteries, Alzheimer's, cataracts, and diabetes, and it's believed to help strengthen bones and halt the growth of disease. Now that's worth raising a glass to.
Would you believe one wild bull?
Thanks for watching. Click the grunge icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.